The live stream will begin shortly. Please stand by.
Hey everybody, this is Scott Roberts with Explore Scientific and the Explore Alliance, and we are here at the Crystal Bridges Museum of Modern Art, or American Art, and we're set up with telescopes to observe the sun. And so I'm going to show you around a little bit, I can't see your chats right now, but we did want to come in to you live. And show you what we're doing and how we're exploring the sun. So let me unplug myself, and then I'm going to move this around a little bit. So you can see our telescopes here. We've got, on this one, I have from Launch Solar Systems H-alpha filters, and we are with the Sugar Creek Astronomical Society, and they are set up here with some light solar filters. There's a big Dobsonian here, and then this really cool Sunspotter device, okay, right? And so this thing works, it's taking the image, projecting it, reflecting it, and bringing it down here to a piece of paper, actually, where you could mark out where the sunspots are. So that's a lot of fun. But, you know, it's great to do astronomy outreach, and it's fun to to stream some of this stuff live. You can see we got some kids over here getting their first look ever at the sun, so that's really awesome. Yeah. And so we got Tyler here, and I'll bring him up here in a second. So.
I think Tyler is going to take his Sunspots live, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. So Tyler, are you able to bring your Sunspots live?
I can do it. I can do it.
Oh, you do it. You do it.
Here we go.
Yeah, okay.
There it is. We're looking through Tyler's telescope. It's on the bottom left, or bottom right of the screen. We can actually see the sun in real time.
Yeah, this is a really cool setup here. So he's got his Lunt scope here. He's got a ZWO camera, Skywatcher Solar Quest tracker, and then our setup here. Actually, I'm amazed that we're able to make this connection at all. But what we have is the laptop, and it's just connected to the museum Wi-Fi, which is not real strong. So, but it's encouraging.
Sunspot.
What's that?
So we can see a sunspot live on the screen.
That's right. That's right. I'll show Tyler at work here.
If you move a little closer, we can probably hear him.
There is?
I know, it's hard to imagine.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. So let's follow Tyler around a little bit here.
The clouds in the way.
That's why you can't see anything on the screen.
So Tyler, do we have anybody, or Paul, do we have anybody on chat?
Absolutely. Chris Larson says hello and happy Friday. Harold Locke says howdy, Paul, the voice behind the curtain, because I was saying
Yes.
we'll be live in just a minute.
That's right.
Uh, Chris Larson, shoot, I've got a conference call. We'll be back in 10, so we're waiting on him, I guess. Harmony Smurf says groovy and hit music for the waiting music. Jim's Astro
Awesome.
says hi, Chris, Harold, and Jerry.
Yeah.
Harold Locke, hope all is good up north, Chris. And yeah, that's what we've got so far. Jeremy Bigfoot says live remote streams are challenging, and yes, they are, especially in a crowded area, just because the fact that there's more than one cell phone, and that's where most of our data is coming from.
Okay. All right. So why don't you give us a little bit about Sugar Creek Astronomical Society?
Sure. I'm Bill Murphy with Sugar Creek Astronomical Society. We are a 20-year-old group from Northwest Arkansas. We are educationally based. We try to help each other learn about astronomy and also try to educate the public. So we have State Park, which is 12 miles east of Rogers on Highway 12, about every 2 months. The next one's coming up May 14th. And then we also have an event that's a once-a-year event at Pea Ridge Military Park. and that one's coming up April 9th. So
Be
this
busy.
one will be solar at 1, and then it'll be stars as a gift start. This is just an evening event.
I see.
The stars.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys, the Sugar Creek guys do an amazing job. Just super active in outreach here in Northwest Arkansas. Your star parties at Hobbs just on an invite get hundreds of people sometimes. So
We are the highest attendance, regularly recurring Arkansas State Park event.
really,
Yes. So
That's
that's
quite a-
network of Arkansas State Parks for regular events, for regularly recurring events.
Mhm.
We are the best attended event.
That's awesome.
Besides that, we also have a club that meets every month, and
That's right.
check us out on Ozark Stargazers on Facebook.
Ozark
Ozark
Stargazers.
Stargazers, and again, it's just a group of people that are interested in astronomy. Appreciate Scott's support, and
We appreciate your support.
in any case, we've got
You guys keep the fires burning here, so it's cool.
a lot
Not
of
literally, but
a lot of active participants that are interested in all sorts of things: binoculars, naked eye, telescopes, and some astrophotography. So,
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yep. So, anyways, it's been a lot of fun. We have, like most outreach events, you have people that kind of come in fits and starts. But people are in the, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. Let me kind of pan around a little bit so you can see the museum. This is kind of the center court of the museum itself, called Crystal Bridges. And the museum itself was designed with seed money from the Walton family. They have poured in over $1 billion into this museum, and it is all about American art from the earliest times to the most modern art there is. And they do things for the community, which are super cool. First off, the museum's free. You get to come in for free. Okay. There is a membership type based thing here, and they do special events for members. But if you got a kid and you want to come here, there's a whole art center for children where they can do things hands-on.
They're actually doing crafts right out here.
Oh, that's right.
They are doing crafts
Yeah.
right behind us.
Yeah. So there's just really iconic art here, which I think is a lot of fun. To check it out. I love art. And then they engage the community in a lot of different ways. They bring in astronomers, they bring in musicians, they bring in, people from all different cultures and everything in the region, including indigenous people cultures. I saw, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, George Washington's artifacts were here, okay, which was kind of cool. They had also a beautiful, and I wish I could remember the artist's name, but there was an artist that was hired in the 1800s to draw the planets through some of the biggest telescopes in the world at that time. So, and his views, his images of Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, the sun, there was an H alpha type view of the sun. It was just mind blowing, the detail that he was able to convey just in a drawing itself. So it's really, really cool. All those were on display here at one time. So what else can I say? Yes.
Hey, let's see here. Robbie Keene says, hey, if I connect the computer to the PMCA with a wire, does that eliminate the Windows 10 connection problem? Will it see both Wi-Fi numbers?
Yes. Yeah, the latest version, you have to update to the latest version for the PMCA firmware. So you use the universal firmware controller system, but it will update you to the latest version. Once you do that, you can connect to Wi-Fi and a wired connection simultaneously. So, and I think that's the question you're asking. So what you could do is you could have, let's say you had a laptop connected to the scope and you had your tablet out. Those could be connected both at the same time. we could use like a product like TeamViewer to communicate to the PC at the scope, okay? Which would mean that you could run inside the house. You can have, if you have images coming down, you can watch them on a big screen television in your den, okay, or in your living room, or a party that you're throwing or something. But then you walk outside and you pick up your tablet and you go, okay, well, let's go to this object, and it would wirelessly control the telescope. Okay, so the only thing you want to not do is try to send a command through your computer and wirelessly simultaneously. I really don't know. It might get a little confused, okay, in communications. But if your question is, can you do wireless and wired connections at the same time? Yes, you can. So,
Jim's Astro, he wants to know about the filter that's on your personal scope.
Okay. All right. So this is a Lunt. I can't remember which model this is.
It's a Lunt 50 double stack.
Okay, so Lunt 50 double stack here. We made a custom adapter. This was 3D printed from my engineering group. So if you want to buy an ED102 and you want to buy one of these filters from Lunt, we can print you off one of these adapters. Okay. So I have an adapter made for my 102 and I have an adapter made for the 80. And we did this in preparation for the 2023 annular eclipse and the 2024 total eclipse. You can't get ready for eclipses too early. Okay. So, and it's good to, use a system like this. And, if you're going to use H alpha, because we intend to work with the Exploratorium. And so they'll put a video feed onto my telescope, and then they're going to broadcast that up. Usually Exploratorium supports the NASA feed and other feeds, to museums around the world. So does that answer the question?
Robbie
Still with me, Paul?
Says hello.
Yeah.
And thank you, Scott. What Robbie says. Jim's
Welcome.
Astro says thanks, Scott.
Welcome.
Then,
Yeah. So to get that Lunt solar filter, you would just go to luntsolarsystems.com and buy it directly from them. Of course, we can supply you with the scope and the, if you want to get the adapter and have the exact same setup I have, we can make that happen. So
now, Lance Mann, he has a question.
Okay.
Very appropriate question. It's a very interesting question.
Okay.
Are you going to ride a bull with the cowboy hat?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Actually, the cowboy hat is so nice. I didn't used to like cowboy hats, but I like them now. They keep if it's raining, in Arkansas, it gets crazy weather out here. So if it's raining, it keeps the rain off my face. It keeps the sun out of my eyes. It's great to hold over your telescope. We're here in Arkansas, so I can kind of get away with it, and, I find it to be very functional. I actually kind of got inspired by it by watching the documentary about Stetson and his creation of the cowboy hat, and I'm sold. So
It's quite useful, especially in the rain.
it's very functional. Yes, sir. That's right.
So
Yeah.
I have some footage here from
Okay.
the sun emits an X-class flare.
Yeah, let's run it, man.
All right. Here we go. So this has come from NASA.
Yeah.
Allowed
Yes, you are. We have permission to stream. And I'm a NASA Solar System ambassador, so there, I get to share this stuff.
it's actually really cool. Now, Scott, I got a question. Are
Sure.
these colors live or are they interpolated?
The colors, like in that NASA video.
Red. Yeah, it's reds and yellows, and you can see some of the magna kind of.
You know, the solar, the guys who do astrophotography of the sun will tell you that you could paint the sun any color you want because the sun's every color. Okay, you can't get a color wrong. Okay, there are people that kind of get stuck thinking, well, what's the real color of something? Well, folks, even human beings can't see the real color of things because we only see a very narrow tunnel of the spectrum, right? So we can't see into the far infrared, we can't see into the ultraviolet. So we just see something called the visible range, okay? But even from person to person, what looks red to you and red to me could be slightly different, okay? And there's no way to tell. You know, we just see something and we assign that as red. That's a mental thing, right? And so there, you know, but there's a big argument where people talk about, well, this is what the color looks like in this bandpass, this nanometer bandpass, okay? This is where it's at on the spectrum, and that's where we should assign the color, okay, for something being natural. But, you know, again, what, you know, let's just say if that color was green, for example, well, what does green look like to you? You know, and what does it look like to other people? What does it look like to people that are partially colorblind? Okay, we don't know, really. So there's tests where they can say, okay, can you see this color? Can you not see that color? Can you see this? What does it look like to you? But really dialing it in to get a very, very fine point on it, a little tough. So
Yeah, and it's really interesting because it was exploding out of the sun. It's like,
right.
it was like,
Oh yeah,
kind of cool.
Coronal mass ejections and things like X-class flares and stuff like that are, you know, we're protected here on Earth by the, you know, our magnetic fields and and the atmosphere but you know, for astronauts in space, this is going to be a real big issue when astronauts start to colonize the moon. Is there's nothing to protect you really except your spacesuit or the habitat that they might live in. You know, so some ways that they're thinking of to protect astronauts is to melt lunar soil and turn it into bricks, because the lunar soil itself can protect astronauts against these kinds of radiation problems. So, and there's lava tubes and stuff like that we might try to live in or something like that. But it is a dangerous it's a dangerous game to go and fly to the moon. You know, if there was a mass coronal ejection aimed right at them, it could be a big problem. So, but I'm sure NASA's trying to take every precaution that they can.
So we have a question. It's let's see here. Are they seeing any sunspots? Well, the live feed has fell off for Tyler's computer, so if he can try to hook it back up, we can go back and look at it again.
Okay, let me see if I can get his attention. The live feed has fallen off on your.
And what
still
is
there,
the
but we're not connected.
What is the aperture of the scope on the live solar shot?
I think it's a 50. That's a 50 millimeter, right?
That's a 50.
It's a 50.
It's a
60. Sorry, it's a 60 millimeter.
What's the aperture?
60 millimeters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Making sure I heard you correctly.
Yeah. Here, let me show the scope.
Share screen. There. Now it should be good.
All right.
That better, Paul?
Yeah, hang on. So
Yeah, you guys. Oh, that's a beautiful shot. Very nice. So what we're seeing, although I don't really quite see it here.
Yeah, it's better to see them on the screen here, Scott.
Well, I'm looking at my little screen here. What I can't see is the prominences coming off the edge of the sun that's right next to those sunspots.
Mhm.
So, but the smallest sunspot we've been telling people is really about the size of the Earth, just to try to give people some, some
I still wouldn't
perspective.
try to land there.
You have to wait until it's nighttime on the sun before you
Oh,
go
yeah.
and visit,
Yeah.
right? A lot better. A lot better at night.
James Dugan says, "Get some sunscreen on, Scott. You're starting to burn."
Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
So I've got.
It feels
you
good to
and-
get some sun.
Oh no, I know. I've got you and the sun up on the screen at the same time. So
Oh, you do?
That's
Okay.
what they're looking
All
at.
right. So I can't quite see exactly what you guys see, but of me but I've got my scope in the background, and so we just have basically a WUNT filter system on an Explore Scientific ED102, and we got this one set up for visual. You can see the Sugar Creek guys back here doing visual work. This is in white light. So this particular outreach event is two H alpha systems with electronically assisted viewing of the sun that you're seeing live right now, and it's fun to share this. We get groups of people that come down here after they see the artwork that's inside the Crystal Bridges Museum. So it kind of goes, as I mentioned before, in fits and starts. We'll get 20 people down here who want to look, and school kids will come down, for example, and then it kind of gets quiet. So this is very normal for an outreach kind of deal. But I would imagine today that we're going to see something like between 200 and 300 people, something like that.
Oh yeah.
Mike asks, "What camera are we using for a live broadcast?
Which
do you
one?
mean on the scope or Scott?"
Okay, so Scott's on a iPhone 12. Okay, so then we're talking as low tech as we can get. Okay, although that's not very low tech.
No.
I've got a phone that is projecting around the world, so that's cool. This system right here is a ZWO, and this is an ASI 178 mm. So those are the two cameras. It's very easy to do something like this. If you guys do, amateur astronomers watching this program right now do astronomy outreach, you should really consider learning how to do live casting and simulcasting. I'm happy to teach anyone that wants to know how to do it. But it can be done with cheaper than it ever was possible before, And so your astronomy outreach activities are not only limited to the regional area that you're at, but you're reaching around the world, and then it's recorded, which is totally cool. And people can watch it as many times as they want for years and years and years. So that's really awesome.
5 years ago, just being, the little stuff that we have, even though we have spent a little bit of money on it, 5 years ago, this would be unheard of.
Unheard of. Well, and that for a fact. Paul used to work in a television news station, and he operated all the stuff, so he knows what it takes.
Chief editor.
Get to the level where we're at right now is I'm every once in a while I just kind of pinch myself thinking that we're able to do this kind of thing. So
everybody's saying hi.
Hello.
Mike Overracker says, "I plan on doing live casting when I finish modding my ES 20-inch Dob for a go-to and tracking."
Okay. Right.
Goals.
Well-
Gotta have goals.
You would think I would have, because I have all the electronics hooked up, but we had some power issues where for some reason the cable, I don't know why, would not power up my PMC8. And we used the batteries to recharge our cell phones and all the rest of it. So this guy's running without power at all. Okay. So you really don't need to have everything totally dialed in to be, to do this kind of outreach work. You just got to start doing it, So I'm a big proponent of, okay, if you're not quite ready, do it anyways, So because the experiences that you get and the little problems that you need to solve and stuff, that's just all fodder for making the next one better. So, I keep our staff always, we try to broadcast every day, and because we want to be in connection with our community. It's you guys that support companies like Explore Scientific. I know that you support all the rest of the industry too, but we really appreciate what you do for us. So thank you. Any questions?
Let's see here. Norm Hughes says he might be live casting.
What's that?
Jeremy Bix, he might be live casting later. I don't know exactly.
Okay, great. I'm going to be on. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I will be on with Dan Higgins tonight on Astroworld TV. So I'm supposed to be on at 7:00 Central. So
Tariq says he says, quote, "I damaged my focuser when I was trying to use a tool for solar."
Oh.
I don't know.
That's a bummer.
And Norm says we should try looking at a live hotspot.
Yeah, astronomy gear breaks sometimes.
Yeah, it does. You could use the filter to show the sunspots. Is what Rocket Gibson says.
We're looking at them. We're just not like real zoomed in,
Yeah.
Tyler's telescope is a wide field scope, so I guess you could digitally zoom in on it or something, but his camera is getting, I think, basically, you can see it's a full disc. It would be kind of cool to zero in on the sunspots, though.
Right. So Robbie Keene asks, how are you able to get the 80 and 102 mounted together like that?
Well, it's pretty easy. Can you see this okay, Paul?
Yeah.
You see the scope all right? Okay. All right. So this is the standard cradle ring system for the ED102. And we include a handle. This is a handle up here, but the center of that handle has slots where you can stick a 1/4-20 threaded bolt through there. Now, these rings right here that are holding the ED80 are from Losmandy. So you can buy a set of Losmandy rings. You bolt them up through a handle right here, and now you've got a dual setup like this. And I have it set up like that so that I can trade off imaging through an 80 or trade off imaging through a 102 or image through both of them simultaneously. But also, if you're doing deep sky work, you can, this becomes a guide scope, or the other way around. One can guide and one can image. So that's, I think it's a very versatile system in that way. It is relatively lightweight carbon fiber tubes that I have up here, so I keep the weight down. And when I put this telescope on my G11, I have an Optech electric focuser here. It's Optech designed it to work on our focuser. So I can remote access the focuser. I can remote access the two cameras, whether it's a guide scope camera or an imaging camera or 2 imaging cameras. And all of that is going down to I have a NUC computer on my G11. And when we hook that thing up and get everything running and then also connect to the internet, then we use Zoom to link together onto the NUC computer. And then on Zoom, you could be controlling it from anywhere in the world. So we'll probably have to do a show. It's starting to warm up now. So it's a little bit more comfortable to set these things up. But we'll probably do a show at one time where we have viewers log into our telescope and take images. So I think that would be fun to do.
Mike Overracker says he actually has got it started and he's waiting on his go-to to put on his dob when it comes. Yeah. I guess he's in Australia.
Is that right?
Jim's Astro. He wants to know what camera is Tyler using on the scope.
It's a ZWO. Hold on. I'll tell you in a second.
It's a 178.
Oh, 178?
178 model.
Here, we'll let Tyler explain what's on his telescope.
So it's, who's asking the question?
Jim's Astro.
Jim's Astro. Jim, it is a 178 monochrome camera on a Lunt 60. It's not double stacked because I wasn't having much success like Scott is here visually. So I just went with the single stack. It's reduced to 5 milliseconds, as you can see on the screen. And the gain's literally set to 0 because the sun is the brightest thing ever.
Yes.
Now, those magnetic storms with the dark spots are bigger than the Earth.
That's great.
Is there any more questions, Paul?
Dusty Haskins says, Tyler.
Hey, Dusty.
Dusty Haskins.
Yeah.
Hey, Dusty. We wish you guys were out here with us.
Yeah, eventually they will.
So
We need to just throw a star party for everybody.
I'm curious because
We are throwing a star party for everybody.
Were you curious, Paul?
I'm curious, and I know that everybody here knows about this. I'm the only one. I do know that, and it's okay. The sunspots, they come and go, right? Or what's going on there?
They do come and go. I mean, they're not going to be always on the same spot, on the same location of the sun. They're like, they migrate all over the place.
Constantly
Constantly changing. It's like the weather here in Arkansas right now.
Right.
It's constantly changing.
Right.
So it could be maybe 2 weeks. There'll be a sunspot tub. If you're looking at the screen, it could be up towards the 2 o'clock position, or there could be one right smack dab in the middle of it. It just, there's no telling. Depends on what the sun wants to do.
I have seen through an H alpha telescope really fast moving solar things happen before too. I mean, it's not uncommon to see like a prominence over like an hour move a little bit, you know.
That's crazy.
But I was looking at a prominence area on the sun.
Yes, sir.
And it looked like, this is really what it looked like. It looked like somebody had taken 2 tubes of toothpaste and squeezed them so they spurted out on either side. You know, it happened so fast. It only lasted about 2 seconds. Okay. So, you know, in order to see stuff like that, you need the right kind of gear and you need to be out there doing it. So.
Says Dusty Haskins says it will be well worth the drive. It's good to see you guys being able to get out.
Yes. Well, it's nice to be out here where it's reasonably good weather.
Good breeze. Nice breeze out
Yeah.
there.
So it's, I don't know, it's probably in the 50s right now, but for us, it feels 61. Oh, it's 61. Yeah. So
61.
time to get on the bathing suit, you know? So
Yeah, no.
that's right.
I hope I didn't miss anybody's question here. I'm scrolling around to see.
Okay.
Scott, can
You don't want to
tell
miss
us a
anybody's
little bit
question.
more about the folks there that you're with? and then the outreach
Yeah,
program?
the sugar. I know a little bit about them. I actually belong to the club. It's called the Sugar Creek Astronomical Society. It was started actually quite a number of years ago. I think maybe like 25 years ago or 30 years ago, maybe even. The Sugar Creek Astronomical Society was started by Paul and Kathy Anderson. Paul and Kathy are like great friends with David Levy and that crowd. And they've lived in Arizona and out here in Arkansas. So they're living in Arkansas now. And it's always been, I mean, as far as membership goes, it's always been relatively small. But the numbers of people that they hit and outreach is stunning. I mean, I know clubs that have like 100 or 200 members, and they do an outreach event, maybe 50 people show up. When the Sugar Creek Club does an outreach event, like I said, a couple hundred, 300 people will show up at their events. And so they do outreach. I mean, the state parks give the Sugar Creek Club they recognize them for being the biggest draw out of all the state parks in all of Arkansas. So that's really saying something. And they are an astronomical league club. So the last event I went to was in fact, this is their 25th year. So I went to the 25th anniversary of the club, and Carol Orich, who's the president of the Astronomical League, actually made it down and gave a special presentation and handed out awards. So,
so Martin Eastburn says, "Howdy from East Texas."
Yep.
He likes, he might be wearing a hat too. Probably not, though.
He might be wearing a coat.
Yeah, he might.
Yeah, I'm a Texan. Actually, I was born in Texas. I was born in the panhandle of Texas in a little town called Plainview. Plainview. I actually lived in Amarillo for a while, but Plainview is my hometown, and it is Twister Alley, and it's flat as a pancake.
Martin's asks, or he says, "Hope you're checking out the sun. There's a massive loop, largest ever seen in even math. Hope you are. It is there today."
Well, I'll have to look again myself, but these people are now looking.
No, you're fine.
We are in northwest Arkansas, about 5 hours northeast of
What's that?
Dallas.
Say that again, Paul.
Says he is traveling to Dallas next week.
Okay.
And he said, would it be possible to visit Explore Scientific? And I'm like, well, we're about 5 hours northeast.
That's right. So about a 5-hour drive. That's right. Yep. So if you're going to come up here and you're going to spend the night, you can get a hotel room in Springdale, relatively reasonable prices. And we are open Monday through Saturday, closed on Sundays. But you can come on in and visit the showroom and announce yourself. You don't need an appointment or anything. You just come on in. The showroom's open.
So when you say something like announce yourself to a guy like me, I'm thinking, who am I going to get to play the horns before I enter the building?
We'll have to set some horns up. No, but announce yourself and let us know that you're there and that you've been watching us on the program. We'll take you around, and if I'm available, I'm going to take you on a little bit of a VIP tour of the place. So.
Rocket Gibson says, how are we not burning out the camera sensor by magnifying the sun?
By having the proper filtration. Yeah, that's how you do it. So the lens system has a pre-filter, which is just allowing H-alpha light, and then it's got a blocking filter in the back, which is really doing an incredible amount of rejection. You're probably only getting one millionth of the strength of the sunlight through. So it's the same way that you keep from burning your eye out when you look through the telescope. It's these filters that help.
Glasses for your telescope, basically.
Exactly. But in the case of the live feed that you have, it's in hydrogen alpha light, and then we're just looking at a narrow bandpass of that hydrogen light.
I wonder, the ring, or did he say ring? I go back here and look. Massive loop. Okay. The massive loop. What is he speaking of for some of us that don't know?
Let me look through the telescope, because visually you can see some stuff that you can't see on the screen. So.
Right. Because the camera sensor is not getting all the available light. It's cut out.
Yeah, the cameras just have a certain range, so now if
it was
Tyler
a alpha.
Yeah, if Tyler was taking, grabbing images, if he's recording this, then he can stack images and get the really faint stuff that, but the visual range down to, what we can see in luminous is actually quite wide visually. So, yep, here. Let me make sure it's. It is. Okay, then you're just going to put your glasses on. That's okay. Oh, you're right. Right down the middle of the eyes. You see the red ball. See the red ball? You see the two little dark dots on the red ball? Those are sunspots. And the smallest sunspots are the size of the planet.
I apologize. The phones cut out the background noise the best they can, so to understand what Scott is saying. Going to line it up and see if the loop is there.
Okay, so I see a really bright, or not bright, I see a big prominence coming over on the very edge where the sunspots are. It is really faint, okay, but it's huge.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. You definitely can't see it on the live feed camera.
No, but if we took, 100 images and stacked them, I bet you'd find it for sure.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So how has the museum been treating you today?
Oh, really good. I'm a member here at Crystal Bridges, and it's just a great place to come, culturally, and it's, it really feels like, that you can get away from, the hustle and bustle, because it's sitting out here in this beautiful park, and they have, I guess I should say something about Northwest Arkansas. As far as a livability standard, Northwest Arkansas is often ranked as like one of the number one places to live. Crime is low. There's lots of family activities to do. It is a bicycling center of the world. Especially if you're into mountain biking, I think it is the mountain biking capital of the United States. So, but very bicycle friendly. It's also very motorcycle friendly. We have in Fayetteville, we have the Bikes and Blues Festival. Barbecue, exactly. Yeah, because Arkansas is famous for barbecue. I'm a vegetarian, so the only barbecue I have is maybe an ear of corn or something. But
the barbecue sauce is vegetarian.
Oh, it could be, but who wants to just eat a bowl of barbecue sauce?
I don't know.
Yeah, you might need some meat in there.
Harold Locke says, "Thanks for this incredible presentation."
Thank you, Harold. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah. And I see that there's some clouds. It looks like some clouds are coming by here. Starting to lose some of the sun. But I think we're going to wrap it up, Paul.
Okay.
So unless we have some more questions, I think that's it.
All right. So from
Okay.
Crystal Bridges.
Yep. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. You guys have a great weekend and keep looking up. And we'll see you on Monday with the How Do You Know program with Dr. Daniel Barth. Take care.